Now, we're also very fortunate today to have with us Dr. Mathews Phosa, as you know, one of the most respected and admired political leaders in our country. Dr. Phosa was with us in Brazzaville last week, and he and Ivor were both decorated as well by President Sassou Nguesso. And here he is sitting next to Mr. Pik Botha, and he shares a couple of things in common with Mr. Botha. Apart from being highly respected and admired political leaders, they are both lawyers, they both studied to be lawyers, and they both write great Afrikaans poetry. Dr. Phosa, we welcome you. Thank you for being with us, and we would be delighted if you could say a few words for us.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Ivor and Debs, for allowing us to be in your house, invading your peace. But I'm sure you don't mind. We have these giants. I don't call him Pik Botha. It's Mr. Botha, Minister Botha, Minister Duplessis. It's very moving to see the old faces around there, Leon Versos, Louis Nel. It just brings back a lot of history on its own. As a young student, Mr. Botha, I followed very closely the arguments at The Hague about Namibia. Very, by one young advocate, the rule of Botha. And I followed those arguments. And it's relevant to what I'm going to say later. But you argued against yourself later. That's respect for you. And of course, we missed you in Brazzaville. I wished you were there, but Vic eminently represented you. And I was given a full report of our delegation. And later, as a young lawyer, I had something to do with him around the Kangwane border dispute. And he was telling us that King Sobhuza wants this part of the country to be part of Swaziland. And I was on the other side says, nee, dat kan niet zo wees nie. Dit is nou deel van Suid-Afrika. Dit gaan om verdedig die deel van ons land. But ultimately, we agreed that this is the case. He was instrumental in getting us that agreement with the late Dr. Koronov, who was leading at the time. And later, as a politician, I was watching from exile this very energetic man who moved from one part of the globe to the other until you reach the Brazzaville footprint. The Brazzaville minute that had its own momentum, which not many people could predict at the time, which gave birth to so many. I think not many could predict that. But at that time, it was important to help Namibia, and thank you very much for that contribution. It brought peace in Namibia. I mean, in Angola and Namibia as well. It did bring peace. Now, in Namibia, whereas you argued a case in The Hague, now later you were arguing for the freedom of Namibia, dismantling apartheid in Namibia. Again, it was Mr. Botha who was there. And thank you for that as well. It contributed a lot towards peace. Of course, many people don't know the ANC was asked to remove their camps from Angola, fair in Uganda. There was an under voortrekker stack to give confidence that there will be no infiltration of armed people into a new Namibia. But it was part of the arrangement, understanding the dimension of what could happen. Of course, we would very easily have infiltrated into Namibia. So it was stopped. And of course, to allow time for reflection in South Africa. As you sit here, you represent a collective of Afrikaner leaders who were willing to be led differently, like Leon Versos, Louis Nel, Rolf Meyer, F.W. de Klerk. They were willing to be led differently. When we watched the contestation of presidency around F.W. de Klerk, Mr. Duplessis, and yourself, and I never said this to you, we were happy to have any one of you winning. We said, let us ons boere. We can deal with any one of them. We're ready for discussion. All we want is negotiations and peace. That's all we wanted. And of course, there were a number of conditions which we were putting, abandon armed struggle, all this, and we're saying release Mandela. So we're starting to be in a stalemate. But it was people like yourself who gave leadership, who gave hope, not only to South Africa, but to the entire region of Southern Africa. Because it was peace in the region and peace in South Africa. When you said, sir, I'm prepared to serve under a black president, I was sitting in Mozambique as a man normal. It was, I'm sure there were immediate consequences for saying that. And there will be that's a story for another day. But I can imagine, I can only say to myself, in front of the Groot Crocodile, they say such nonsense. He must have called you to pull you on the carpet. But it shows the man who was not prepared to be dominated by his own circumstances, was prepared to lead in the storm, to lead in good weather. And today we're where we are, Mr. Botha. Ik sê met trotsheid. En ik moet een van die dichter quote. Ik hou van een man waar zijn man kan staan en een slag kan slaan. Je weet wie is dat dichter. If I say that today to you, looking back in history, ik bedoel dit. I mean it. And thank you very much.